Tell you what, let's go up the Skype wall now because Dom McGuinness is there. Dom, a very good afternoon, stroke evening, early morning to you, pal.
And to you all of those things above, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Dom, great to have you with us, mate. Thanks very much indeed. We just have looked at the league. We just had a look at the league table, Dom. And one thing that nobody's actually stressed at the moment, because we were saying earlier, you know, in the 80s it was Everton and Liverpool. Has there ever been a situation where two London clubs have battled for it? And of course there was in 2005. It was Chelsea and Arsenal. But now it's very much Manchester territory. And the two Manchester clubs are nearly 20 points ahead of those below them. Has that brought a sense of unity to the city of Manchester, that is, despite the fact that, of course, huge rivals within that city?
No, that's not going to bring a sense of unity to the city. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the title's at stake and nothing else matters. The gap between United and City and everybody else is something that might be looked at afterwards, and everyone can give themselves a pat on the back. But certainly for the time being, it's all about winning that league. And it was put to Sir Alex Ferguson in his press conference. I was there this morning about that gap and about the 19 points, and he didn't know about it. He was unaware of that. And all he's focused on is beating City to the 20th league title for Manchester United. And whether or not a stupid result, as he kept mentioning, he kept talking about today, whether or not QPR could do something silly and knock City off the perch. And obviously United then have a job to do at Sunderland. But the gap between the rest is just not really applicable at the minute. It's just all about this final game.
Right.
Dom, good evening. Wayne Veysey here.
Hi, Wayne.
Very interested in your Sir Alex's press conference. What was the mood like there? Was he very relaxed? Was he sort of giving it up a bit, or was he, intense?
Well, he was actually quite relaxed. He was in very good form. You never really know what you're going to get with Sir Alex. The only thing you do know is that you've got to get there early, because if he calls a 9:30 press conference at Carrington, he can turn up from any time from 9:15 onwards. He wandered in. He was quite, as I say, relaxed. He did his team news as he always does first. Before a question's asked, he'll run you through the injuries and who's doing what. Of course, he gave us the news about Chris Smalling not being fit for the Euros, being out. That was the first thing he mentioned. And then obviously getting to the nitty-gritty of what could or couldn't happen at the weekend. But no, he's in great form. He was talking about his little wee team, Aberdeen, shocking Real Madrid. Yeah. When they won the Cup Winners' Cup 29 years ago, and he was talking about how anything can happen in football. Of course, Mark Hughes' name was mentioned with the situation he had at Manchester City, and feeling slightly aggrieved with the way he parted company. Would he use that as a kind of invigorating motivational force for QPR? And of course, Sir Alex knows all about that and the mind games that might be employed. And he was in very good form. He was fairly anecdotal, and he didn't snap at any questions, which can often happen, and just got with things. So he's seen this situation before. Of course, he's been in situations where United have pipped other teams and also been pipped, and I think he just thinks, well, been there, done that. Let's see what happens. United are going to have to do their job. Can QPR do something? Yeah,
I mean, in fact, he's not under any pressure, is he? For once in his life, he's not expected to win. So if he does, it'll be a bonus.
That's exactly right. I mean, you saw what happened to Manchester City when the pressure was off. They started banging goals in left, right and centre. Yeah. It's Norwich and West Brom, and it got them right back in it. And United wobbled, and we are where we are now because of that. But there is no pressure. I mean, ultimately, let's face it, City could be out of sight after half an hour against QPR, and then that's it. You just don't know what is going to happen at the Etihad. Of course, he can only focus on Sunderland, keep everybody buzzing over in case there is a dramatic result. I mean, he kept saying the word stupid in terms of the result, but we've seen some stupid results all season. Manchester United banged 8-in against Arsenal at Old Trafford. That's stupid. City battering, Spurs at White Hart Lane at the beginning of the season. That's stupid. And we've seen Wigan beat United. These results, it's all possible, isn't it? Yeah. It's just, I wouldn't put any money on it, but it's possible.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think, Dom, that United have got a very difficult trip, though, there to Sunderland? I mean, it's not unimaginable for QPR to even get a point at Man City, but then for United to win at Sunderland's not easy, is it?
No, Mancini in his press conference today, he kept alluding to the fact that United, these last two games, he was bigging up the fact that United had Swansea, nothing to play for. He said it again this morning, Sunderland, nothing to play for, where he's had to play Newcastle, Champions League place in the offing, and now they've got to play QPR, who are fighting for their lives. So, again, he's still playing down City's chances, even though he has admitted that they should win the title now. So he's trying to put pressure on United, but, Sir Alex isn't going to buy into that. He knows where the pressure is, and that's at the Etihad in terms of them getting the goals early on. But I do think it could be tricky. I think Martin O'Neill, he might look at this and say, well, this is just one final hurrah for the fans who are going to pack in there, wanting, one last big game before the summer and the Euros and everything else. And of course, Martin O'Neill might have his own ambitions and aspirations for the United job. as many will. Of course, many are calling Sunderland United B at the minute. There will be a former Manchester United presence in that side, and quite a significant one.
Yeah.
Big United fan, Bardsley. You've got O'Shea that's probably going to be in the lineup. You've got Campbell who'll be involved, probably on the bench. I mean, I think Wes Brown's back in training, whether or not it's too soon for him. And then you've got Richardson, who's not going to play. He's injured. But it just shows you there's an awful lot, half a dozen United players, ex-United players.
Yeah, I have to say, Dom, honestly, I think United are absolutely bang on for a victory at Sunderland. And that's for two reasons. Firstly, I don't think Sunderland are a very good team. I think that, when Martin O'Neill got there initially, he, gave him a bit of a boost because he was a new manager, but they've dropped right off. I mean, some people were saying, Sunderland could finish above Newcastle now because of the Martin O'Neill effect. But the second thing is, I think you said about Martin O'Neill going to Manchester United, that's ludicrous to me. I think Martin O'Neill literally lives in awe of Sir Alex Ferguson, the way he's spoken about him in the past. And I don't think Martin O'Neill would be so impertinent as to try to beat Manchester United on the last day of the season.
Well, that is bonkers, isn't it? Let's
No,
face
it's not
it. He's a
bonkers,
manager
I'm
of a
telling you.
football team. He's going to send the team out
language.
there to do the best that they can possibly do. If it comes off, that's one thing. You can't start suggesting that managers, because they're so beholden to the great Alex Ferguson, aren't going to try and win a game. I do think that Sir Alex is very clever in the way in his programme notes for opposing managers when they come to Old Trafford, if he fancies a fairly easy ride against a team, because he usually bigs up that manager.
Yeah.
If you know that it's feisty, as in the old Arsene Wenger war days, it's slowed a little bit now. There were no flowing compliments. There was no patting on the back. What a great job he's doing down at Arsenal. You can sense in the programme notes, you can sense in the interview, you can sense in his demeanour about certain managers. Yeah. And certainly that goes into, that's big time when you talk about the old boys, in terms of Stevie Bruce and Brian Robson, all these guys, whenever they came back, it was the red carpet. Interestingly, the one old boy that didn't really get the red carpet and isn't that close is Mark Hughes, who Sir Alex spent the entire press conference bigging up QPR, Mark Hughes this, Mark Hughes that, QPR, because of course he needs something. But it's a fairly cool relationship those two have, funny enough. But I don't buy into managers just being completely bowled over by Ferguson and not going to try and win a game. I do think that he plays on them, and he picks up the phone to them, and they all respect him so much that when they get a compliment, they're a little bit glowed. It's like any respected person saying, "Oh, you're doing a great job, son." They get a bit of a the bigged up, but no, it's not going to. He's still going to try and win that game. He's a former Man City player, Martin O'Neill. Don't forget that.
I didn't know he played for Manchester City. I can't remember that. Honest to God, I can't. I mean, you all know he's a Nottingham Forest hero under Brian Clough. So how many times did he play for Manchester City?
Right, there's a couple of seasons at Man City in the 80s. You look that one up.
No, I won't bother, because you've told me, mate. Let's face it, you're a walking encyclopedia of football. What would be your best guess of the outcome of the two games on Sunday, please, Dom?
Well, I told you, Mike, I won't part with a penny because it's been that kind of season, but I do think City will see it over the line. I think they had, obviously, the Manchester derby to contend with, and they got the better of Manchester United on every level. United not with a shot on target. Yeah. City with the best. I mean, 11 on 11, there's no doubt about it. City are the better team. I just thought United might psychologically get to them. City have shown mental toughness. Ironically, when it was all over, they got back on track. United have wobbled, and City have taken advantage. And I think now, led by the likes of Vincent Kompany, who's a lion of a man, I think that they will just see it through now, because QPR, for all their fraught situation they may find themselves in, the Etihad, they've only dropped 2 points all season. Yeah. The Etihad. Amazing. I just do not see them now collapsing, because going to Newcastle and doing what they did there as well. Yeah. You've got Yaya Toure, who thinks he was born to win things like this. Yeah. They've got all the other players. Tevez, who's come back in, and he's almost forgotten about now, the big 5-month hiatus that he had. Aguero, the fans' player of the season. These are guys, and don't forget, the best Premier League goalkeeper in Joe Hart, who's going to, again, win the accolade for clean sheets. 17 he has now. This could be his 18th clean sheet if he manages to keep QPR out. That matches 18 he kept last season. Phenomenal. I just don't see these guys collapsing now.
No. Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans. Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans.